everyone, I have been lucky enough to be sent this book, Beautiful Planet by Leila Duly, from the publishers to review for you. I just thought I would start by showing you the size. Now this is her flower yearbook, and you can see how the size, it's actually a different publisher. The size is very different. This is obviously a hardback book too, and this is a paperback, so there's quite a difference. I will just measure it because it is quite large. This is A4 paper. Actually, I can show you. So it's a little bigger than the A4 and a little wider. So I'll give you the actual measurements. It's actually bigger than my ruler. So that's 30, it's about 31 centimetres by 23.5, or in inches, it's roughly 9 and a little bit by obviously just over 12. So it's quite a large book. And we have a matte cover, apart from the words Beautiful Planet, which are written in shiny, it's a sort of reflective black. We have an example of her work here, and a very bright yellow. The spine is the same, in the same bright yellow, and on the back we have one of the pictures, and it says, join Leila Duly on a creative colouring adventure as she travels the globe, picturing everything from beguiling coral reefs to rich jungles and mysterious forests. Pick up a pencil and you'll discover bugs, birds and butterflies hiding in her wonderfully detailed hand-drawn compositions, every one a perfect celebration of our natural world. Now this is Skittle Dog have published this. Now this other book here, this is a Lawrence King. Okay, so a very different publisher. But I've got another book by this publisher, the Join the Dogs book, which you may have seen my flip through of, and I think it was about this size. So and the paper was very nice, so we'll see how this compares. So it's really thick on the cover. We've got this sort of French flap with a cute little frog on it, and inside it's all plain. Look, I'm not going to move it to show you. It's very bright, that's for sure. I don't think I would have chosen this colour, to be honest. I can't zoom out anymore, so if I'm sort of cutting off the top and bottom slightly, but I'm not going to worry about it now, because if the designs don't go all the way to the edge, it doesn't matter. If they do, I'm going to have to move my tripod up a bit. So we have a This Book Belongs To page with a small design of seashells, which is rather pretty. I love this frog. Might colour this frog after, we'll see. So here we have our title pages. So the name here obviously, and all the information there. It is a new printing. It's the sort of first edition, I guess. And our first very detailed picture here, look, is a very pretty stag in sort of woodland, but we do have some space here where you can do a little bit of a background. And there's a message from Leila Duly, which I will read to you. She says, welcome to my beautiful planet. Join me inside this book on a journey around all the ecosystems of Earth. Each page reveals a new composition of flora and fauna, from the marvellous intricacies of undersea creatures to the awe-inspiring heights of mountain peaks, springtime meadows filled with flowers, summery tangles of jungle leaves, delicate wreaths of butterflies and evergreen desert succulents. All the plants and animals are drawn from nature and arranged in combinations that will inspire you to pick up your pens and exercise your creativity in your own trip around this beautiful planet. Now, of course, this is going to be a little bit different to her flower yearbook. The clue is in the name, it's all floral. So we've had no sea life or things jungle or things like that, so it's going to be really interesting to see what is in this book. So let's have a go. So as you can see immediately, it is double page, so printed on the back, double-sided, that's what I want. That's the word I'm looking for. Now initially I thought this looked really intricate, but when I look at it I can actually very easily see where there are roses and whatever these are, and different flowers, so I can pick them out fairly easily, which is nice. And here we have a squirrel. We obviously have some ferns which are really pretty and some mushrooms, and again I can pick that out. Sometimes with the flower year I find it a little bit difficult, I think, because it's a much smaller book. When you get a page sort of like that, it's quite hard to pick out all the details. I think it might be easier in this slightly larger format book. But that's my thought. But then when we get a double page spread like this, there is a lot going on. But again, I'm looking and I can see we've got black behind some areas, which makes it a little easier to pick out. We've got different shading, so these leaves are completely plain, whereas the tree has got lines, so we can easily see the difference between them. So I think it's okay. This just looks quite like a silhouette of a leaf, which is quite fun as well. So there we go. And this is more simple. So we've just got in here, there are some butterflies or dragonflies or damselflies in here amongst these. I think it's a leafy design. I'm just going to have a quick peek in the back. Bear with me. I was just wondering whether it said... No, I was just wondering whether it said what types of plants they are, but it doesn't, so you're going to have to guess. All the woods are alive with the murmur and sound of spring, from Magdalen Walks by Oscar Wilde. I think there are little quotes through. Now this one looks far more jungly to me. These look a bit sort of more hardy and thistly, or even not quite bottle brushy, not quite Australian, but you know. But again, despite the tangle of lines and colours, I can make out everything that's going on here, which is leaves, which is petals. So I'm feeling more confident. I was a little bit worried, but I think it'd be okay. And this one is fairly straightforward because we've just got the one bloom there to do. Now this one we have orchids, which are rather pretty. It might be a little hard to make out on camera, I don't know, but it's really nice. And look at this gorgeous little hummingbird with some pretty blooms, and another one there, really nice. And this is just a sort of spread of florals. They could be from any country, really. I'm not sure, but very pretty curled leaves. A bit like chrysanthemums and dahlias, I don't know. This is the grass that grows wherever the land is and the water is. This is the common air that bathes the globe. The Song of Myself, 17 by Walt Whitman. Now this here looks like a heron to me. We've got a dragonfly or a damselfly. I can never know which is which. We've got a sun or moon. Lots of reeds, which is really pretty. These sorts of, I can't remember what they're called. Those little yellow flowers that you get, and they're sort of flag irises or something. Now, this is a very British looking picture to me. It could just be down my canal path. Whereas this one looks rather more exotic. We've got a lot of sort of palms and peace lilies and a bird with a really long tail. So that looks a lot more jungly to me. For me, it would have been a bit easier if we had them segmented so I could tell a little bit more easily, but hey. So here again, we have lots of sort of palm looking plants. So that's quite fun. Now this is a page that's a little bit simpler. Just lots of pretty butterflies to colour, so that's fun. I would probably look at butterflies pictures online and try and colour them, some of them, but we don't know which types they are, so I'd have to make it up a little bit. Now in this tangle we have lots and lots of bugs. So we have butterflies here, but we have a ladybird, we have some sort of praying mantis or grasshopper beetles, lots of beetles and things like that. So that's quite a nice one. If you like bugs, if you don't, you might want to avoid that one. Now we have lots of succulents here. We're definitely a sort of desert. Look, we have a big cacti, sort of spiky ones. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? It's a Rita Berman page in her Lander book, which has lots of succulents, which I can't wait to do. Moth moon a flutter in the lilac tree, with pollen of the white stars on thy wings. Oh, would I share thy light, thy fantasy, the aimless beauty of thy brightenings. From Moth Moon by Florence Ripley Mastin. So we do have moths here and here and here. I can make them out fairly easily. And then behind we have mainly leaves, actually. A few little bits that could be florals, but mainly leaves there. And we have a really pretty moth design there with just a few leaves behind them. I would probably do all the leaves the same colour-ish, or just a couple of colours, and then make the moths really shine out. Now here we have orchids and buds and sort of greenery behind, I guess. And here we have some nice berries. They could be buds, but I think they're berries. Florals, more berries up here. That's rather nice. And this one looks a bit more like, I was going to say sunflowers, but it's not. I'm not sure. But some more florals and butterflies on that one as well. Now this is a little more complex, but actually we have poppies. Not sure what these flowers are. More poppies, I think. Foxgloves, definitely over there. Very British spread of pretty flowers. That's rather nice. Under the surface, loveliest forms, feathery fronds with crimson curl, treasures too deep for raid of storms, delicate coral and hidden pearl. From Under the Surface by Frances Ridley Havergal. So we're obviously under the sea. You can see the fish. There's sort of florals, which I think is interesting, but also things that look like seaweed. That's fun. And we have one with lots of shells. In fact, we have shells on all of these. That one might be the one that was at the front. No, it's a different one. So that's interesting. And here we have a few singular items picked out to colour. So lots of crabs and lobster, a few shells, and shrimp, is it? I don't know. And we have lots of different sea plants there. They're rather fun, aren't they? I like those. Oh, jellyfish. They're always fun to colour. It's quite easy, but it is a double page and you get this. But actually, everything has got a different texture, so you can make out what's what. And there's these starfish here too, which is fun. And these little, they look like clownfish to me. The water drives a wedge of iron through the iron edge of the cliff, whereupon the stars, pink, rice grains, ink bespattled jellyfish, crabs like green lilies, and submarine toadstools slide each on the other. From The Fish by Marianne Moore. So if you look here, there are fish. There's one hiding here behind some reeds. There's one here, there's a couple here and one here. As what looks like it could be a starfish there and a sea anemone. A lot of plants. It's quite fun. Underwater is interesting. And we've got another one here with more shells and plants, whereas this one's got fish and the plants. This almost looks like a fish bowl because there's nothing at the top here. It's quite interesting. Now we have the frog. He's the one from the front, isn't he? The one I liked on the front. Yeah, he's from the front cover. And we have these, I'm not sure what these are, some lovely blooms and leaves, and then some more grass-like things behind. So that's rather nice. And this one is more like a mandala because we've got this part here. This is sort of, almost looks like ivy, heart-shaped leaves. But then we've got some florals and leaves here. Not really sure what they are. This one's got some sort of dots in the middle, as does that one. Maybe those are peace lilies. Don't know. And here we have another large double page, but again, not too difficult. We've got quite a few patches of white. I mean, you might want to do some sort of background in there, or you could just leave it. These look like the flowers that dry out in the summer, but I can't think of the name. No, I don't know the name. And then we have these look more like a daisy type or dahlia, but I don't know. But anyway, you can do them how you wish. See the mountains kiss high heaven and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. From Love's Philosophy by Percy, I don't know how you say that, Bysshe Shelley. I don't know how you say his middle name. So we've got a mountain in this one, lovely Wolf? I think so. Watercolour, snow, which is interesting. So that's a fun one for winter, I think. Really different. And these are good fun. Look, we've got 4 different scenes, each with mountains. There's snow, I think that's snowy, but I don't know. But this one's got flowers. Maybe it's seasons, because I'm thinking there's only evergreen trees in that picture, and this looks like there's snow, and in that one. But here we've got flowers in these two, so maybe it's the 4 seasons. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But here we've got mountains, trees, and lovely florals. These are lupins, I think. That's rather nice. And we have a more simple circular design with a couple of different types of florals in there. More than a couple, actually. Now here we have quite a big flower here, maybe a peony or something. That's quite a big one to do. I like these. I can't remember what these are with the little spiky bits of leaf. They're really pretty. Now we've got a bit of a problem here with our getting in there. We might manage it because it's a sewn book, so you can see the stitching, so you can probably push it down and just about get in there. But this is, I'm assuming this, it's not the middle pages. Actually, stitching comes in little bits. So we've got sunflower, which is really pretty. We've got another sunflower there, and these look a bit like dahlias to me. I'm not sure, but very pretty. Oh, this looks a bit more tropical. We don't get birds like that in the UK. Soft purl the streams, the birds renew their notes, and through the air their mingled music floats. From a Hymn to the Evening by Phyllis Wheatley. I like that. It's nice, isn't it? Now we have feathers. That's rather fun. So just lots of different feathers to colour. Feather colouring can be a little bit confusing or a little bit tricky. You can just colour them like leaves. But I do have videos on colouring feathers in different ways. Now here we have a pheasant, so we might want to do that in the correct colour, you know, the colour of pheasants, but I don't know. It's very beautifully drawn. Now we have some floral trumpety type flowers on this one, and it's a symmetrical design which can be quite fun to do. Now this one is a symmetrical design too, but we have these bugs here. I think they're butterflies or moths, and we have some more here. It's not completely symmetrical, it's only symmetrical that way because these two are different to these two, although this bit's all the same. So that's quite interesting. Now this one looks a little bit more tropical to me with these big leaves, so that's going to be fun. And this sort of stripy type design going on. It is summer and the sun loves a million green leaves, masses of green, from Mask by Carl Sandburg. And here we have 4 little pictures, very tropical. This one has a bird with a very impressive tail with a seed in its mouth. This one we have our palm trees, there's a bit of water in there. This is more leaves, but we have, I don't know what these are called, but I've coloured them lots of times in Magical Jungle. And this one again we have a bit of water and some palm trees, so that's rather fun. So if you fancy something a little bit smaller, there's a few there. Again, this one looks to me quite tropical with this this leaf here. It's quite leafy. I don't think there's any, that might be flowers, but I'm not sure. I'll probably colour it all as leaves, as that's the only bit that looks a bit floral. Look at this. He's rather nice, isn't he? Is that a leopard? Cheetah? I'm going to be quiet and pretend I didn't say anything. Palm tree. It's a lovely big cat. Ooh, I don't like Mr. Snake. These, I'm going to ignore him. He's very well drawn. These look like, are they bird of paradise flowers? I can't remember. No, they're not. They're passion flowers, that's right. So there are those. I was glad to turn over. I can always put something over the top of that when I'm colouring the other side. That's what I tend to do. These are interesting. I don't know what these are, but they look like little fluffy things. Like maybe they're just dried grass. I don't know. And these, are they rose-like? But these don't look very British. I don't know. O fragrant flower, with desert wastes content, thy graceful stems I in the solitary paths have found. The Ginestra by Giacomo Leopardi. That tested me, didn't it? This one's a succulents, I can tell. That's rather fun. Now we have quite a few round designs coming up. So this one again looks like succulents, which I do like colouring. That's rather fun. And again, because you don't have to do them all green, because some of them have little pink tips and things like that, so it's rather fun. Oh, getting near the end. Another couple of round designs. This one's got what looks like tulips to me. Tulips, maybe these are, I can't think, but these look like they might be crocuses or bluebells in the middle. And this one looks like lily of the valley. That's rather fun. Now here we have some information about the poets. We have some acknowledgements. We have a few shells and bugs to colour on the back. So there we go. So I'm going to colour the frog. I know he's on the cover, but I don't want to colour the whole big picture of him at the moment. I'm quite keen on just colouring this one. I'm going to come in a bit closer. I can't push my book too far up the table. I'm not sure. I'm going to need some padding. Hang on. I'm just going to slide a book underneath to lean on. Yeah, that'll work. I don't think I need to put anything under there. Now it is the cover, so the paper is probably going to be a little bit different. What shall I use? I've got some pencils just here on my windowsill. Ooh. They are my Staedtlers, so I'll use those. Right, let's have a little go. I think I will use my Super Soft, just because. And this is number 56, and I'm actually going to use this as a base colour over the whole frog and just see how it goes down. It's going down surprisingly well considering it's the cover. I didn't know whether it would need a bit of extra pressure, but it doesn't. So that's rather good. Because these Super Softs, they don't act in the way I had expected. I thought being called Super Soft, they would be easier to put down and that they would be more intense, but they're not. They, I don't know why, they just aren't how I expected. But anyway, they're nice, and I was sent them for free by Staedtler, so I can't complain. Well, I can, I suppose. I just did. But no, I prefer their plain. They're just bog standard design journey over these Super Softs. But it's nice to have a selection. And it's always so very personal when it comes comes to pencils. I think partly of the reason, sorry I'm shading that bit, that I prefer the bog standard ones is because I've got more of them. So it means I've got more colour choice. So it's not really a very good reason for preferring them, is it? But anyway, that's just my personal opinion, but I haven't used them for ages. So. And they're mixed in with all my other Staedtlers in this case. I've got them all in colour order. So it means that if I want a colour, different colour that isn't in the set that I'm using, I can just grab it. I wouldn't do that on video because it's confusing. If I tell you I'm using a set, that's what I'm going to use. Right, we need something to do some shading. We don't have much. I'll grab that green. I'll just put that by. I'm going to grab a brownish colour. Yeah, we got this one. Sorry, the last one we used was number 56, by the way. Wasn't very good at telling you, was I? I've got a list somewhere with the colours on. Hold on. 56 is light olive. I'm now using number 73, which is the burnt sienna. So it's a brown, so it's a bit darker, but I want to put in the shading. Now the nice thing here is that it's been marked for us where we need to add a bit of extra colour. So yeah, this is quite a orangey brown. I knew that was going to be the case. Now I'm not going to do these stripes yet, they're going to go into a different colour in a bit. This is merely these sort of shadows that I am trying to mark out. And it's just nicely marked on for me, so I don't really have to do much work. I'm not sure if that actually is shadow or if it's that is. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to my number 56. I'm just going to sharpen it and I'm going to try and tone those shadows in. Sorry, I had no idea that you were so far away off the page. So if I colour over the top, it should help to just mix it in a little bit. Don't want to colour so hard that I push down all the tooth of the paper, but I want to just darken it all a little bit because it seems a bit wishy-washy. I'm surprised there's no shadow there, but I'm going to put some more in a minute. This is going down fine. I'm not sure that it feels similar to the book, but it isn't the same. In my other book of theirs, which I think is the same paper, I use polychromos and they work really well, which is always nice to know, I think, because a lot of you have those. This is also quite a hard pencil, so it's sometimes nice to know whether a something like a Prismacolor is going to work, because a lot of people have those softer pencils and they can sometimes be a slip on the surface of a book. Right, I'm grabbing a darker green now. This is number 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken all the areas I think might be a little bit darker, so that we can start to bring a little bit of shape to our frog. See, I'm thinking like the underside, like this, would be more shadowy, and then the top would be lighter. I know we've got the brown already in some places, just going to extend that. Like here where I said, you know, I was surprised there wasn't any, I'm going to put it in. What time is it? Just checking. Oh, that's okay. I need to make sure my boys aren't going to burst in the door, because they're finishing at lunchtime today. Quite nice for them, first day back, finishing at lunchtime. Thinking that might be a bit darker. And here. Now I'm thinking I'd quite like a yellow on the top. What have we got? We've got Yeah, well, I've used this one, number 1, which is yellow. And I'm thinking just along those edges that are going to be catching the light, put a bit of yellow. Also brightens them up a lot, doesn't it? It's a bit messy down here. I'm going to go over it with the back to the number 56. Just down here. Oh, it looks a bit messy. That's better. And we've got these sort of stripy bits to do. And I'm thinking maybe a darker brown. Let's keep switching back and forth in my what's that? Number 76, the Van Dyke brown. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm going to do all of the stripes in that colour. Oh, excuse me. Oh. I'm going to go quite lightly. I don't want them to look really dark brown. I just want them to look different, if that makes sense. And just work all the way through him. Sounds a bit odd. Go from bottom to top, filling in these stripes. As I say, it's quite a big book. It's not one that you would sort of travel with, I don't think, you know. Whereas the Flower Year, being a hardback and a bit smaller, would have been quite a good one to pop in a bag to take on holiday or something like that. Yeah, this one is a little big for that. But it does work quite well for the detailed designs because they're bigger. So I think it has pros and cons, as do all books and sizes and things. It's also not hardback, but I've been doing quite a few hardback books lately, and they have pros and cons because you've got a nice sturdy cover to keep everything safe and secure, and it feels and looks really special. But trying to hold it open is sometimes really difficult, and you can't always get right into the middle very well because you can't sort of break the spine, which is not something I necessarily recommend doing anyway. But if you really want to get into a book, that's sort of the way you would do it. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. But there we go. I'm going to leave him there. There's our little frog. But yeah, an interesting book. So if you're not just one for flowers, it gives you a much bigger range of different things to colour, which I think is always good, and not quite as detailed, or it is as detailed, but because it's bigger, it's a little bit easier to deal with the details. The only thing I would like to have is a list of what flowers they are. I'm sure we get that in the Flower Year. Doesn't it tell us in the back? I think it does. Yeah. So it would be nice to know, but I'm going to speak to the publishers and ask them if there's a list. And if there is, I will put a link to it in the description. I may not hear back from them before the video goes out, that's the only thing. But if I hear back from them a little bit later, maybe I'll try and remember to post it on my social media pages or on my community tab on YouTube. That might be a useful place. But I'll as I say, if they say there isn't one, I probably won't say anything, but if I find one, I will try and let you know. But that's me. Thank you very much. I hope that was interesting for you to have a look. Yeah, thank you for watching, and happy colouring.